Hello, everybody, and welcome to OpenExO Live. It's really great to be with you, if it's morning, evening, or afternoon, wherever you are in the world. Today, we have Artur Gurau with us. Artur is calling in from Brussels, Belgium, originally from Moldova, but we'll get Artur up on screen soon. But before we get him up, I just wanted to share some words from some community members. And the first one comes from Simon. He just said, I was lucky enough to meet Artur 3 years ago during an online event he organized. Since then, we've stayed connected, and I have always admired his visionary thinking combined with his doer mindset. Can't wait for the next time we are working together. And from Yaroslav, who just said, Artur is a visionary with an entrepreneurial spirit and passion to translate his ideas into reality. It's been great to get to know him and learn about his different ventures. I wish him lots of success going forward. And so with that, I want to just welcome Artur up onto screen. How are you doing this
Hello,
evening?
Kevin. Hello, and such a nice feedback and words from my friends from the OpenExO community.
Yeah, it's always great just to share some words from those people you've been able to work with and do things with. Now, we always start OpenExO Live by asking just for you to give a bit of background about yourself. Tell us about where you're from, what you do, and also how you came to join the OpenExO community.
Cool. So very shortly, I'm a tech entrepreneur for 12 years. For 5 years, I do consulting. Always a startupper. I launched a lot of different projects, tested them, and saw what works, what doesn't work. I'm a social activist. I'm interested in tech, in media, communication. I was born in Moldova, but I'm traveling around the world. In 2015, I was in the US for the first time. And in 2016, we co-founded Digital Communication Network. It was a network of communication professionals from 27 countries. So we established this organization in Estonia. And this is how basically I discovered OpenExO, because when I was in charge in a leadership position at Digital Communication Network, I was thinking and I had this pain of how I make this organization exponential, how I can boost the development of our organization in multiple countries. And this is actually how also we got inspired. When I was with my co-founder in Bucharest, we met Salim at a tech event in Bucharest. And this is when Vitaly asked me, my co-founder, my technical co-founder, maybe we should do something about this, because he had this theory for 10 years ago that he can use the algorithm used by Google to find information to create an app with a similar algorithm that will find people, the right people. So this is how we started working on Vote Me Up. And we used it to select leaders of the community in different countries, in Eastern Europe, in Georgia, Armenia, Ukraine, Romania, Poland, Estonia. And after that, we started to talk to organizations and understood that what we are doing is very cool, with this innovative algorithm. But actually what they need is like some real old way of making decisions. We have this issue to vote, approve or disapprove, or you have a list of candidates and you have to select multiple options. So this is how we developed our platform as well. And for a couple of months, we've been incorporated in the United States and providing decision-making services for professional unions, for communities, for political parties as well. So that is the long story short.
Okay, so ultimately, you joined the community through what often Salim talks about, the Romanian.
Yeah, exactly. That's the link. It's our friends Lucian Despoiu and Dragoș Stanca in Romania, and Diana Stache and all the great guys from Romania.
Yeah, absolutely. Now, obviously, when it comes to the EXO model, right at the top of the model there is an MTP, and so I always love to to find out from the folks I'm speaking to, what is your MTP, your company's MTP?
Yeah. So my MTP is to empower digital innovators. I really love to work with talent in companies, talent in startups, in my own teams. So I think this is something that I will do in the future. Our company MTP is to democratize decision making. And I'm happy because I can combine those two, because with the help of our tool, we also can find the leaders of the future, the leaders of tomorrow. Because it's when we talk about leadership, it starts really early in classrooms, in, I don't know, for impact organization, non-governmental organizations, yeah, different networks, different communities. This is where the leadership skills and qualities are developed. And this is very important to educate the right practices of openness, transparency, inclusivity, equal chances for everyone. Because nowadays the elections is a process that very often is complicated, specifically to make it inaccessible for some people. So we have to tend to democratize it. And when it comes to democratization of decision making, it should not be costly as well. For this, we have the most democratic business model, actually. Like our business is around the model of $1 per member with a voting right. And also for classrooms, we allow to organize elections in a freemium model, and they can see the winner for free of the election. And if they are curious, they can unlock, their personal position, or like top 5, for example.
Okay, that's really interesting. Adding maybe some form of like sort of game elements to the product.
I think gamification is important. It should be interesting. Also, like in our process, the gamification is actually like I don't know. It's incorporated in the product. Yes. But if you want to make democracy interesting for people, it should also be fun and simple. It should not be very complicated if you want people to understand the process.
Absolutely. Now, so you mentioned a little bit about the Vote Me app. Obviously, you've, as you said, I mean you've spent your time in the sort of tech space for quite some time. What really got you onto the one to sort of tackle democracy, mm-hmm. And so where are you actually starting? You mentioned unions, you mentioned schools. Where are you starting to actually get this change? Because obviously, changing the way we vote, for countries is quite a leap.
Yeah, in my case, it was a need, a problem that we had at Digital Communication Network. We because we had thousands of members in the entire world, we had to create a process of organizing the sustainable development of the organization. Because where there is a process, things are happening faster and in an organized way. So chaos is not very good for exponential development. You need like a framework. So we decided to create this framework when we had to identify who is the most trusted and have the biggest authority in a certain specific community. But I worked in my position as marketing and strategic consultant with different organizations, also with political parties. And I saw the process of the political campaign and how political parties are born and how the decision-making is taken in political parties. So actually the Vote Me Up is not my first startup that is connected to this area. Previously, we developed the framework to run and to win elections. So like a campaign manager with different tools and engagement services and so on. But we understood that it's far more critical not to run campaigns and convince people, but to actually promote the right, to identify and to promote the right people with the right vision and with the right integrity. Because, even the bad guys, if they have a lot of money, they can run good campaigns. And it doesn't mean that you'll have always the best leaders. So it's really important to hack the system and to not allow, only people who have like multi-millions to, even if they are evil people, to, to create their positive image and win elections. And this is especially important in like in Eastern Europe, in the part of the world where I am from. I saw this problem very, very often, and we built this resilience, and we were looking for different solutions, how to tackle this, how to identify and to promote the right people for the right roles.
Yeah, absolutely. So right now, where the product is, your current project, who are you really looking for to use it, and what what are the opportunities for people out there saying, hey, this sounds interesting?
Yeah, well, for now, our biggest clients are usually the professional organizations. For example, we in Moldova, we have a very vibrant IT community, and there is an umbrella organization called Moldova IT Park. There are more than 1,000 organizations in this virtual park, and we organized the general assembly for them, and they were like allowed the chance to vote for a lot of issues on the agenda. Very recently, we organized decision making for a union of lawyers, and they've been very satisfied with the experience, and they said, like, my God, it's so simple. Why we did not do this earlier? So actually, professional organizations and unions are the ones that have this need. They can, they pay for this. The only problem, I would not say it's problem, it's an inconvenience, is that these processes are very regulated. So there is there is a procedure, and each case, we want to build our product in the direction that will be adjustable for the needs of every organizations. But actually, any big group of people, they can use our tool for simple elections, for snap elections, or for like really serious elections where you want to involve tens of thousands of people.
Oh wow! Okay, cool. And now, I know before we went live, you were saying how how you do sort of enjoy consulting, but at the moment you're pretty busy with your product. You did you went through the consultant certification. I think it was during COVID in 2020. Is that right?
Yeah.
What would you say are sort of some of the learnings that you actually took from that program?
Yeah, while I was doing my certification, I was working with Moldova IT Park, and I was very happy because what I learned structured and connected really well with what I was doing. A very useful thing for me was to assess the exponentiality level. I think this is the exercise that you can do, with the members of the team, to understand exactly what are the areas where you are really strong and what are the areas that you're not that strong.
Yes.
And it allowed me to apply this also to the organizations that I was consulting. It's really important to assess the internal capacity of the organization on being exponential, on being open for development. And also this exercise allowed me to understand that from all the projects where I'm involved, the decision-making platform is actually the one with the highest chance of exponential growth. So it really allowed me also to prioritize and to focus my effort in a certain direction.
Awesome. And so how you say you now sort of embracing the EXO model in that process?
Well, I conducted last year a couple of EXO workshops, and I'm looking forward in the next period. I will for sure organize more similar workshops, especially when there are companies that are interested in this model in my part of the world. But I also organize big international global events, And the model that I learned and applied at OpenExO for our product, I also used to scale our conference as well. So this model allowed us actually to reach 10 times more people than a traditional event. So I'm super thankful, and I'm looking forward to work in the future as well with the OpenExO community to create this type of connections and to connect the dots actually to make it happen.
No, absolutely. It was great to actually participate in the future of democracy, and I know that that you're going to be looking at doing that again. Next
it
year.
will happen in September.
Yeah, absolutely. And I mean, that obviously is a topic that that everyone is thinking about, is wondering. It's really interesting. We live in this world that is moving faster and faster, right? Technology has a much more important part to play in our daily lives, but also in the way our cities and schools and governments and countries all function, right? And obviously in many countries we have leadership that's perhaps a lot more traditional. There's people in our community that say Paul Eppening in particular keeps saying, oh, we shouldn't have a single leader over the age of 45, but that's quite radical. What do you really think it actually looks like? Do you see more and more countries embracing technology when it comes to the actual processing of not only of elections, but of the actual running of structures?
Yeah, it's very interesting you're asking me about this. I just launched my podcast with Vitaly Shano, my co-founder, and we talked about this because this is an issue now in Moldova. We were talking about, trying online voting for national elections. And what he said, I think, can summarize my response to your question. I think the indicator how many people are participating in online election actually is a good indicator of how digitalized is a country. So if you take Estonia, for example, and it's like they are leaders, like it's a digital nation, like alongside Singapore and other countries, like half of their population are using internet voting, and this is actually, it displays us that the citizens, they trust the system, they are used to it, they don't have issues with it. It's already a process that is put in place. And I think for small countries actually like Moldova, this process can function really faster than the big countries. So actually, when you're slower, when you're like a little community, it's easy to set up the decision-making process. It's easy to test it, and the online election brings a lot of positive, it brings bigger engagement. People, they feel that they are part of the conversation, they are like, their opinion is taken in consideration. And also, I think with the digital transformation, we don't have to wait, 2 or 4 years to vote on some things. A lot of things can be discussed like faster, and we can decide on things, so things can happen faster. And I like the small groups. I would encourage them definitely to try online elections if they did not try yet, and when it will function. And this is our approach. I think this change have to be in a bottom-up, situation where it's not just somebody who say like, look, we will have online elections, and people will look at them and say, I don't know, what's that? I don't trust you. But when people will embrace it and they will understand the advantages of online elections, this is when this transformation will happen, and we can all harness the advantages of more transparency and inclusivity in decision making.
No, absolutely. There are actually there's so many technologies already available, that that even today we could absolutely improve the way things are done, but there is this sort of adoption cycle, I guess, to get those going. I mean, I really love the idea of having more direct sort of democracy where people have a say, but it also has its caveats where I have no idea about sewage or waste or something. How can I vote on whether we should do something or not? So it is really interesting how also, I mean, I think in the future there's definitely AI that has to get involved in some way. What are your thoughts on that?
I'm not so sure it's a good decision to to delegate the decision making to AI. I think we have to make, even with this whole digitalization, we have to make sure that it's keeping its humanity. After all, when it comes to decision making, you said that maybe you don't know the know-how on a specific issue, but you have a friend maybe who you trust, and maybe you can delegate, for example, your amount of power of vote to him. So I think in the future we will not be only limited to this simple mathematical formula algorithm, 0 or 1 when it comes to voting. Yeah. And this is something that we are working, and we are doing researches as well. We did a research during national elections where people were voting for mayor. We asked them how much you trust the person that you're voting. And one candidate had 58%, and another one had 53 or something like that, or 42. Oh, 48 and 42. So it's not always who is the best win, but maybe sometimes we vote for somebody just only for the reason that we don't want another candidate to win, and it's not entirely fair. So this is why we are researching this possibility of open voting, when we can recommend and we vote for the one that we trust, and after that person can vote for somebody because she is really informed, for example, and not for a reason.
Absolutely. I hope we're gonna see a lot of positive changes, in the space of of democracy, of voting, etc. And hope to see you and your company and the OpenExO community involved there. What is it that you would like to sort of share with folks as we end off today's OpenExO Live, as we end the call?
Well, first of all, thank you very much for the invitation and for the attention for the ones that watched our conversation live or the recording. And feel free to reach us, because we can provide you with the feedback. Maybe if you are part of the bigger community, maybe what we are doing can actually help you and your organization to have an exponential development, because decision making is really important for the community. And if you guys have this need or you have this problem, we know how to solve it.
Awesome. Well, I mean, Artur, it's great to chat to you again. It's been a while. I hope you have a fantastic evening there in Brussels, and we'll chat to you again soon.
Thank you very much, Kevin.
Sure. Bye-bye.
Bye.
So that was Artur Gurau calling in from Brussels. Really awesome to chat to him. The future of democracy, really, really interesting topic. If you're interested in speaking about that more, why don't you just let us know? And with that, I'd like to thank you for joining us. We'll see you again next week.